What's up guys, Chris here with another video. Palmer Aquatics, give me a shout out by subscribing. I was out in the shop working on fish tanks because that's what I always do. And the UPS driver happened to stop by. I'm like, hey, what'd you bring me? I opened it up and it is my Flourish Excel made by Seachem. I've been having some issues with my blackbeard algae in my planted tanks. This stuff is kind of sold as like liquid CO2, even though that's not what it is. So when you have blackbeard algae in your fish tanks, you have some sort of imbalance, and Seachem tries to fix it with this liquid carbon essentially. And mark my, don't air quote my words, because Seachem has like 200 different additives that you can add to your fish tank, and they've gotten at me before for explaining things in the wrong manner. So terminology is pretty important with this stuff. What I'm trying to do is a backyard method of deterring blackbeard algae from my fish tanks. All right guys, let's get in the fish room. I want to show you guys how to dose this. And I just made some French fries on the stove. I gotta slow down. I gotta continue to eat because I've been in the shop nonstop. I didn't eat breakfast. I just gotta, let's go down the, All right guys, so here's the bottle of Flourish Excel. Again, this is made by Seachem. This is a Seachem product. A lot of people think this might be used as like a regular aquarium fertilizer, but it's more or less, you could be used as that, but I wouldn't call it a fertilizer. What it is it's kind of a liquid carbon, and a lot of people use it to just kind of balance out their planted aquariums. Planted aquariums need three things to survive: light, CO2, and fertilizer. And when you don't have CO2, this is where this product comes into play, because it is kind of sold as liquid CO2. So in my case, I'm using it to get rid of some algae problems in my tanks, but really what it's doing is balancing out the aquarium so I don't have the algae. So as you can see, this planted tank down here is full of blackbeard algae, and doing planted tanks turns into kind of a scientific wormhole, because hear me out on this. I'm trying to balance out with Flourish Excel because there's an imbalance in this tank. But is the imbalance happening because of a lack of water changes, or does my water have too much of one element that the algae's feeding on? So this in turn could actually make the algae worse, because say if my water parameters already had a ton of iron in it, which was making the blackbeard algae, maybe this would help boost it. And you know, Seachem urges you not to overdose the Flourish Excel because you're going to have a huge algae bloom. So here we are trying to use a product to try and fight algae, but if I overdose it too much, it's going to explode in growth. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not trying to scare you guys away, but what it is, I would have called it a planted tank balancer, because this is kind of sold as a liquid CO2. Sometimes I disagree with how companies kind of market their products, because this is just promotes the ferrous state of iron and bioavailable carbon for the planted aquarium. It should be called like a stabilizer, because I don't know, maybe call me a weirdo, but I think a lot of things need to be simplified, because fish keepers aren't scientists, you know what I mean? Planted tanks are super technical, and I'm only a low-tech planted tank kind of guy. So this is right up your alley. I'm hoping, guys, hopefully I'm not butchering this. As far as dosing, the directions say, use a capful, which is 5 milliliters for every 40 liters or 10 US gallons. So this is a 40-gallon breeder. So I would do 10 gallons per capful, so I would need 4 capfuls. But for what I'm going to do is underdose it, because Seachem also stresses, do not overdose. You probably can't read that, but do not overdose in caps, and do not drink or get into your eyes. I don't know. So what we're gonna do is probably dose a half dosage. So we're gonna do 2 capfuls, enough for a 20-gallon aquarium, because yes, I do have root tabs in here. That could be creating the algae as well if it's boosting a lot of nutrients into the water column. A lot of things are happening with planted tanks. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm sorry, I'd like to dive into getting more technical, but what you actually have to do is test your water, and high-tech planted tank guys are constantly testing their water. It's essentially like testing your nitrates and your ammonia and your nitrites, except it's a way more in-depth testing kit. So let's do a half dose. It's going to be 2 capfuls. I need to get into these tanks and get out the duckweed. I usually have to do that once a week as per usual. Again, this is kind of just a trial test, guys. I've done this before and had great success. And I've done it also and had the algae bloom just, where it just explodes. And all of a sudden you got to start completely over, and it's like, Planet Tanks, awesome stuff. I highly urge you to get into Planet Tanks because they're so much fun. A lot of these tanks, you can not do water changes on them for months and months, but you might have algae issues, imbalances. I don't know, guys, I'm rambling. Let me know in the comment section if you've ever used or dosed Flourish Excel, what your thoughts on it are. I have had good experience. I like Seachem. They have a ton of products and they can get super over complex and almost overstimulating. And I guess it is what it is. We're gonna take it slowly and just kind of learn each of these. What am I even saying anymore, guys? Flourish Excel, hit up the comments. I've blabbed enough. Hopefully I didn't speak idiotic too much.